Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be picking my TBR for the month of November. We have about a week left of October. I think I'm going to finish all but maybe one book from the month of October that I wanted to read. My TBR, I believe I will get done that I chose, but there's like one extra book that I may carry into November, but we're not going to count that here. I'm going to pick the 12 books that I pick every month, and if you've been on this channel for a little bit, you'll know that I'm trying to do like a little clear the cart. These are the books that I want to read before the end of the year. I still have plenty more books on my TBR, but these are my priority reads. I want to try to clear this cart or get very close to clearing this cart by the end of the year. So this is what I have. There are actually two up here you can't see either, but I've prioritized based on where they are on the cart. These are the highest priorities up here, middle, and then if I get to these, I get to these. If not, I'm not going to cry about it. I've been selecting with a spinning wheel, but I didn't like the spinner wheel, so I wanted to choose my own prompts. So we're gonna go back to selecting ones that I picked out, and I have my little pens glass because we're in hockey season again, and I'm very excited about that. But we're gonna be picking my 12 books for November. I hope I get some good ones. I'm excited to read every book on this cart, and without me yapping anymore, I don't think I have anything else to say. I have a few books I think that are coming out, so if I get like buy a new book or a new book, I may pick one of those just because I'm trying not to buy any books or read any books that are brand new. I want to read these. So there are those in here though. So just keep that in mind. Before we get started, let me know down in the comments what books you plan on reading in November, what books you're excited to read by the end of the year. And if you've read any of the books I'm going to talk about today, also let me know because I will eventually read them even if I don't select them. But without further ado, we'll get to selecting our first prompt. Prompt 1 is YA book. If it wants to focus. YA book. Up top I've got, I believe, The Dagger and the Flame. And that might be my only option up top. Yeah, the rest of them are not YA. I also have The Vanishing Stair, The Traitor's Kiss, and I do have this, A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir, which I really do want to read because I want to be able to read Air in December. And this will finish out the quartet for me. So I think I may pick this just so that I know I'm getting it and it matches me. So like, why not? So I think I'm going to pick A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir. I'm like 99% sure this is YA. Let me check before somebody comes at me. Yeah, it's YA. Okay, so we're going to choose A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir, which is the fourth and final book in the Embers and the Ashes quartet. And this follows a girl named Laya and Elias, he is kind of like a dropout he was like the best soldier at this elite academy, and he wanted to leave and everything, and then she's been trying to save her brother who got taken by the like bad guys in the first book. And that's all I can tell you. There's so much more that has happened, but the basic premise is they kind of form a reluctant alliance and learn to trust each other and work with each other throughout the story to better their paths as well as like the whole kingdoms. So yeah, it's really all I can say, but I've really enjoyed the books so far, and I do want to get to Air by the end of the year, so we're going to select that. Prompt number 2 is oldest book on my TBR, and I know what book this is because I'm hoping I don't have to check too much on my computer because it's uploading a video. But the oldest book on my TBR is Gwendy's Final Task by Stephen King. I've had this since like early spring of last year, so I want to get this finished. I did read Gwendy's Magic Feather, which was the book that came before this, and it was just, it's like a detective that you're following, but and like a paralegal or something. I forget what she was. She's a novelist and political star. I knew she was involved with politics. And there's a little bit of a paranormal, like mysterious magical element to it, but it is like following her in her life and things that are happening with that. That's the most I really can say about it. But there's this man this like bowler hat man that keeps showing up in her life at different points in her life and offering assistance, but it's like magical assistance. It's weird, but kind of cool. Different for him. This is like a Stephen King, Richard Chizmar, like collaboration, but I think Richard Chizmar wrote more of it because I can definitely tell that it's a little bit different than like his writing. So that is book 2. And you're just gonna have to trust me on that, but that is the oldest book on my TBR. The second oldest one is this one. See, I know that because they've been there forever. Prompt number 3 is a new author. Okay, so I've got a few options for that. Just looking at the top, we have Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll, Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole, Goddess of the River by Vaishnavi Patel, Enigma by Runix, This Dagger in the Flame by Catherine Doyle, Blood of Hercules, all of these are. And not these two. Love Letters to a Serial Killer, Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. And then over here I've got Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Malors and Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. And I actually think I'm gonna pick from one of these two. We're gonna try to stick to the top tier on this one, because I could continue going for new authors like pretty much all the way down this card. Not this shelf, but these two are new, this one's new, this one's new, this one's new, so we'll stick with these two. They're both like literary fiction, and I want to read both of them very badly. I just don't know which one I want to read that I want to prioritize reading. Demon Copperhead is like a modern day David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, which is just talking about like poverty, and it's following this kid that maybe isn't in the best circumstances and like how they're navigating that. And then Cleopatra and Frankenstein follows this couple that gets married and has like a little bit of a rough relationship. That's all I really know about it. So yeah, I don't know which one I want to read more. I think I'm actually going to go with Demon Copperhead because I've had my eye on this book. I mean, I've had my eye on both of these books for like a long time before I even bought them, but this one's just speaking to me more right now. So we're going to go with Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. And I'm going to hope, I still have a receipt here. I'm going to hope beyond all hope that I do not get the prompt in here that is a prize winner, because this is the only one I can think of that is a prize winner that's on my TBR. And if it is, I might use this one and then pick the other one for this prompt. But for a new author, to me, we're going to do Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. Prompt number 4. Random letter on the title. So we'll do a random letter generator, a letter wheel, and we'll try to pick something that has the first letter, the first letter in the title is whatever this is. Hopefully it's not something really weird. D. Okay. None of those. Not quite it. We could use the Dagger in the Flame if we don't have anything else. We may have to do that. The Four Winds. I could have used Demon Copperhead for that. Of course. The Bridge Kingdom. Yeah, I think the only way to get around this is to ignore the word the. And we'll go with The Dagger in the Flame by Catherine Doyle, which is a YA fantasy. Enemies to lovers, that's all I know. In the dark underbelly of a beautiful city, two rival gang members are pitted against each other in a deadly game of duty and revenge in which the most dangerous mistake is falling in love. Should be interesting. I think it's like the cloaks and the daggers, so we'll see how that works. I've had this almost for a year. I think I bought it at the beach last October, and now it's a year later. I haven't read it. And I believe The Rebel and the Rose is the second book in this and just came out or is coming out very soon. So that will mean something that I can continue into the next year. So this will be book 4, which was Random Letter. Prompt 5. I feel like I'm picking quickly, but also not. It helps that I'm not picking from my like full 140 book TBR. 500 plus pages, because why not? Why not be rude? Because I just picked 2 quite long books. Please hold. think I'm just gonna, you know, I'm not even gonna, I know that this one is, but I'm just gonna go with the Blood of Hercules. Because it's a KU book, and I like to have a few KU books, or at least it was when we're filming this. So this is Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss, and I do not know much about this, other than it is a badass female. I'm surrounded by villains, and they're smothering me with their hate, obsession, and dark possessiveness. Too bad for them, they have no clue who they're messing with. I believe she's supposed to be like a female version of Hercules, and there are other gods that are in here too, like Achilles, Patro, all the ferrymen of death, stuff like that is all in here as well. And she's at a like school or something, and there's like an elite test or whatever that she goes through. Don't know much. I think it's a dark fantasy romance. Perfect for this time of year. And the Bonds of Hercules, I think, also comes out very soon. So 2 in a row where I can get the next book either right now or very soon. So we're going to go with The Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss for 500 plus pages, because it is just over 500. I'm not going to show you the last page where it says that because I'll probably show a spoiler. About to be halfway through with pick number 6. I feel like I always push the cart like out of the way and take thousands of books off and don't put them back during these, but so this says water on the cover. I don't know why nothing will focus today. You can't read it, but I promise you it says water on the cover. No, 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 no. That's a flower on the cover, I'm pretty sure. No. Snow. That's a road. There's water on this cover. I think there's water on this cover. No. You'd think. Unless that's supposed to be like a wave. No. I think this one does. Promise Me Sunshine also has what I assume is supposed to be the Hudson or the Atlantic Ocean. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the bodies of water in New York City. Nobody come for me. But they are on a boat, so I'm assuming that is supposed to be water. And I think I'm going to go with this one, and I'm going to tell you why. I need to read one more Book of the Month book to reach my like Book of the Month, you win a prize thing for the year. So I'm going to read this so that I get it done well within the end of the year. This is about, it's a grumpy stranger and then a girl that has just lost her best friend and is grieving that. And that's all I know. And that's all I really want to know. But I know that it deals a lot with grief, obviously. And I've heard good things. I've listened to Ready or Not by this author, and I really loved that book, even though it was a trope I don't particularly like. I think she did an excellent job telling it, so I'm excited to see how I feel about this. Even though it seems more like a summer book, it could also be kind of fall-y. The colors match that. So we're going to go with Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone for water on the cover. Okay, so that was the halfway mark, so let's pick number 7. A debut book. Is Spark of the Everflame Pencold's debut? Yeah, so that is a debut. That is not hers. This is also not debut. I don't think that is this? Okay, this is 2. So I can either do Love Letters to a Serial Killer or Spark of the Everflame off the top. I don't think Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I kind of want to do this because I don't have a thriller yet. I mean, I have Gwendy's Final Task. But I've got 3 fantasies, a romance, a fiction, and like 1 mystery thriller. So I think I'm going to do this because I think this is like funny mystery. And I think this is the time of year to read it. So for debut novel, we're going to choose Love Letters to a Serial Killer by Tasha Coriel. And I think this is about a girl that like writes a letter to a serial killer in jail, helps him get out, and then they start to have a relationship, and I think she begins to question like whether or not he actually did it, even though she helped get him out of jail and said he didn't do it. I don't know. It's supposed to be funny, so I'm excited about that. Book number 8, or prompt number 8 for book number 8. Lowest rated. I think most of these are on my Goodreads, so we'll just go with whatever is on here. Want to read, no, my TBR, that's what I want. Physical TBR, average rating, well, the highest rated's on here, releasing 10. Lowest rated, and we'll have to pick the one that's actually on here. Love Letters to a Serial Killer was the lowest rated one. That's always good to know. The Starlight Air is not on there. With a Vengeance, Such a Quiet Place. This is the next lowest one that's actually on here. So we're gonna go with Megan Miranda's Such a Quiet Place, which is the last book I have to read by her. Or no, I think she just had one come out. I haven't read that one either. But this is the last like backlist one that I have to read by her. So it is about a mysterious murder in an idyllic and close-knit neighborhood, which is what a lot of hers are about. But someone usually comes back after something happens or there's a trial. I think this one is residents are trapped. So there was a murder of Brandon and Fiona Truitt. Year and a half later, Hollow's Edge is simmering. The residents are trapped by a trial of one of their own. Ruby Fletcher, with her conviction overturned, Ruby waltzes right back into Hollow's Edge and into a home she shared with her friend Harper Nash. Harper always treated Ruby like a wayward younger sister, but now she's terrified. What good could come of Ruby returning to the scene of the crime? But how can Harper possibly turn her away when she knows Ruby has nowhere to go? So they have to find the real killer, I assume. But I do enjoy her books. She's one of my favorite thriller authors. It is rated 3.45, which I don't think is like a super low rating. Mostly thrillers aren't rated very high. I mean, Riley Sager's newest book is actually rated even lower than this. Haven't read it yet, so I can't speak to that. But thrillers usually are like a 3-4 star read for me anyway, so I'm not worried about that being low rated. All right, book number 9. We're making progress. I just picked so many. I'm not going to pick this many for my TBR next year. I think I'm only going to do like 8 a month because I want a little bit more flexibility in what I read every month. So Sprayed Edges is number 9. That one focused. So I'm not going to consider like just colored edges, which is what Enigma is. So I really only have 3 options here. 5 options here. But again, like I said, these are going to be prioritized last. And most of these are books in a series. And December is my series month. So I have Goddess of the River, A Dark and Drowning Tide, and The Courting of Bristol Keats. What do I want to read? I know which one actually. I'm not even gonna pretend. I really want to read Goddess of the River just because I've had it for so long. It's one of my oldest TBR books. But I'm more in the mood to read this. So we're going to read this one. And that is A Dark and Drowning Tide by Allison Saft. And I believe this is like 2 people that go on a adventure to like, it's an expedition to find like these creatures and things. And our main character's mentor is murdered on her quarters in the ship during this expedition, so they have to find who did it, and there's only like 5 people on the ship. But it is also fantasy. I believe there's romance. I believe it is a sapphic romance, so I'm very excited to read this. It just seems like a very good book to read this time of year. And I've had it for about a year now, because I think I got this last October. So, excited to finally get this one on the TBR, and that is for Sprayed Edges. The edges are sprayed and they are design sprayed, so time to pick the last 3 before my battery dies. Prompt number 10. If I can open it. Black on the cover. Lots of options for this, lots of options for this. It's not gonna focus. Okay. Bright Young Woman has black. Spark of the Everflame, Enigma, Not Quite Dead Yet. All of these really have black somewhere on the cover. But what do I want to read the most? My mind's going to the 2 thrillers. I'm in a thriller mood apparently. Bright Young Women are Not Quite Dead Yet. My heart is telling me to pick Not Quite Dead Yet, but my brain is telling me to pick Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. I believe this was made into a TV show. I'm really back into my true crime era, and this was based off of the Ted Bundy story. It's a sorority house full of girls that he infiltrates and murders like all but one of them or something. I think that's the real life story. I don't know how this is going to be, but I believe it's based off of that. So we're going to go with the one that's older so that I definitely get this read by the end of the year. And that is Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. There is obviously black on the cover. It did not say black cover. It said black on cover. If it wants to focus, it probably won't. So we'll pick that for book 10. I'm trying to be decisive because my battery is flashing at me. I picked 2. We're gonna go with this one. Great First Sentence. Not one that I can be super decisive with. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Let's pick some of the ones up off the top. The girl stood on the edge of the cliff. Makes me want to know what, but not great. I don't like that one. Do you know how a river forms? I have a feeling this one might be a good one. Dead gray skin rotted away to show off the stringy sinews of muscle below. Also good. Yeah, not great. Probably only gonna do the top shelf. No. No, that's not even a great one. Stephen King let me down there. Did you know this song might be about an orgy? Might read that. No. We'll check this last one and then I'll pick from the ones that I set aside that I liked the most. We'll go with one of these. So this one's just hilarious. I read this one too. That one was just like, this one's like fascinating. I think I'm gonna pick between these two. And I think I'm gonna go with Out on a Limb just because I don't have a lot of romance on here. So just to make sure I get at least one more romance on here, we're gonna go with Great First Sentence, which is, did you know this song might be about an orgy? Just because, what a way to start a book. Final prompt is map in book. Most fantasy books have a map. That is a family tree. There's actually no map in that one. This one probably has one. Yep, there is multiple, or no, just one map. There's a map in this one. Nope. This one actually has a map. This one has a map. No. Me literally going through the same books. I'm really trying to read the ones on the top by the end of the year. So that is why I'm doing this, if you can't tell. This one doesn't either. That's surprising. These probably won't. And I know this one probably does. Yeah, this one does as well. So I've got some different options. I've got A Reign of Rose, which would finish a series for me. The Secret War of Julia Child, which is like in historical fiction, which I don't have yet. Enigma, which is a dark romance, and Spark of the Everflame, which is a romantasy. But I think I'm gonna go with The Secret War of Julia Child, just because, again, I don't have a historical fiction on my TBR yet, and I want some variety. And I need to read all of these books by the end of the year. These are the ones that I'm just definitely, no, I don't need to. I'm trying to read all of the books by the end of the year. So that's not to say I won't eventually get to these at some point in the next 2 months. Anyway. So this is about Julia Child and like before she was Julia Child, like the chef on TV, and how she met her husband. And I think this takes place over in Asia during World War II. So very excited. I love World War II set historical fictions. And this was an ARC. It came out like last October, so I'm behind because I got this at an ARC sale. And yeah, I'm excited to read it because it was on my summer TBR and I didn't get to it because I hit a massive book slump in the summer. So some of these books that look summery are because they were from my summer TBR. So we will go over the books real quick one last time, and then we'll close out this TBR selection. In no particular order: Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver, The Secret War of Julia Child by Diana R. Chambers, Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young, Such a Quiet Place by Megan Miranda, Love Letters to a Serial Killer by Tasha Coriel, Gwendy's Final Task by Richard Chismar and Stephen King, A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabat Tahir, Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone, Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss, The Dagger in the Flame by Catherine Doyle, A Dark and Drowning Tide by Allison Saft, and Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. Okay, so those are my 12 books that I will be prioritizing in the month of November. Obviously, I'm going to try to read more. I would like to do a 24-hour readathon to read some of my like smaller romance books that I'm trying to get ahead in those series or finish those series by the end of the year, with the long weekend for Thanksgiving. If the world so cooperates with me, I might try to do it then, but we'll see. Yeah. If you want to see me read any of these books that you can see on this TBR more, like if you're really looking forward to me to reading one, let me know in the comments and I'll try to get to it sooner. But if not, thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far, and I hope to see you all in the next video.